Who is the fierce deity and Majora? What are their true origins? These are questions many people have asked since the release of Majora's Mask. The Zelda series is full of unique and mysterious characters. The Poe Collector, the Happy Mask Salesman, Dampé, and yes, even Tingle. They all stand out from the rest, but I would say at the top of this list is Majora and the fierce deity. The fierce deity only makes a single brief appearance, and isn't even fully introduced until at the very end of the game, and even then only as a bonus item or reward for collecting all the other masks. Little to no information is actually given on him, and the developers have even had conflicting answers during interviews. The most common for people to fall back on now is from a recent interview from Aonuma, where he stated, "The best I can give you is just a suggestion. The best way to think about it is that all the memories of all the people of Termina are inside of the fierce deity mask." Even here, the man who created Majora's Mask says the best he can do is just give a suggestion. The truth is, the reason the fierce deity is so popular is because of the mystery behind it that sparks questions, discussions, and fan theories. During this interview, we will go over different interviews with developers, real-life influences of the mask, and hidden details from the game to uncover the secrets behind the fierce deity and Majora's Mask.
Before we go any further, I want to put an end to something before it even begins, and clear up a few common misconceptions about Majora's Mask. In past videos, I've received comments from people using the various Zelda manga and comics as a canon reference, and I can't even tell you how many times I've had people bring up how Link is dead, the 5 stages of grief, how Termina is just a dream, and a few other things. It's important to know that none of this is true. None of it. I have a video linked in the description and the top pinned comment with interviews from Aonuma, Miyamoto, and other lead developers and story writers of the game, where they state several times on several different occasions that Link is not dead. The events of Majora's Mask do not take place in a dream or a character's mind, and that Termina is a physical, real location located close to Hyrule. I know Hyrule Historia says things to contradict this, but the book should be looked at as more of a guideline and not absolute truth, as Nintendo has already retconned the timeline in Hyrule Historia and other information within the book. Also, if Termina was created when the Skull Kid put on Majora's Mask, and Termina vanishes when he and Link left, the cutscene you find before entering the swamp wouldn't exist. The one showing Skull Kid long before he finds Majora's Mask, and he is doing cartwheels and playing with the fairies in Termina Field. So just right there, the game itself disproves Hyrule Historia. And quotes from Aonuma, the creator of the game, also disproves this. And again, it wouldn't be the first time that Hyrule Historia has been wrong about something. Maybe you don't remember the flood of dozens and dozens of videos that came out where people were correcting mistakes found inside the book. For now, let's get back to the theory using facts from the game. The Fierce Deity Mask is one of, if not the biggest secret within the entire Zelda series. At least with Majora's Mask, we come to see its personality, its evil intent, and even a little backstory. However, with the Fierce Deity Mask, we are only given a few lines of text, and that's it. A gossip stone does mention that it has attributes of all other masks we find, and the kid on the moon wearing Majora's Mask gives us the mask only if we give away every other mask and have no masks left to wear during the final boss fight. Yes, we all know the famous quoted line about playing good guy versus bad guy, and how Link in this situation is the bad guy, but that can be deducted to the simple fact that in Majora's mind, he is doing the right thing and just having fun, even if that fun is playing tricks on the giants and causing misery to everyone in Termina. We come along and end his fun, so he sees us as the bad guy, similar to a juvenile or an immature kid doing something to get in trouble and then saying that's not fair when they're presented with the consequences. In their eyes, they were just having fun and aren't doing anything to get in trouble. Enough about just Majora. Let's move back to the Fierce Deity Mask. In the land of Termina, almost every character from Hyrule has their Termina counterpart. Some could even say Majora is Demise's or Ganondorf's counterpart, but Termina's hero, seems to be missing. I mean, even the goddess of time is mentioned, and that could be the goddess Hylia's counterpart. And thanks to Skyward Sword, we all know Hylia sacrificed herself and was reincarnated as Zelda. So, we have the Triforce of Power being represented in Hyrule by Demise's reincarnation, who is Ganondorf, and in Termina as Majora's Mask. We have the Triforce of Wisdom being represented in Hyrule by Hylia's reincarnation as Zelda, and in Termina as the Goddess of Time. And finally, we have the Triforce of Wisdom being represented in Hyrule as Link. But the hero's Termina counterpart is absent. Or is he? If we look at all of the transformation masks, we see a mix of traits from both Link and the character that the mask came from show up as the new transformation. In fact, they appear so similar that the character's family and friends within the game can't even tell that we're just disguised as the character. But unlike Fierce Deity, we know where these characters came from. The mayor's butler's son is cursed in what seems like just moments before the game actually begins, and the Skull Kid curses Link to take the Deku Scrub's form, which, with the help of the mask salesman, we seal that spirit inside the Deku mask. We heal Darmani's soul, and we receive the Goron mask. We help Mikau, which I probably mispronounced, pass on, and we're rewarded with the Zora's mask. From this, we can come to the conclusion that a transformation mask needs to come from someone who is dead or dying, and we seal their spirit inside the mask, or set their spirit free, depending on how you look at it. When we put on Fierce Deity's mask, it just looks like a different version of Adult Link, and our weapon is still a sword. So could Fierce Deity have been Link's Termina counterpart? Now, the real world reason behind this is because Nintendo wanted to put an adult Link in the game since they already had the character model and it was going unused. Usually in sequels, you try to build on what has already been established, not take stuff away. So if you played through the sequel of Ocarina of Time, which let you play as Adult Link and Child Link, then suddenly you can only play as Child Link, they felt like it would take away from something that the first game had already established. After all, the character model was already made, and it's not like any extra work would have needed to be put in. In fact, in early screenshots, we even see the Fierce Deity mask as just an Adult Link mask. But because they wanted it to be a bit different, they created a unique version of Adult Link that stands out on its own. It was supposed to be nothing more than them repurposing an unused character model as a bonus for collecting all of the masks. But we want the in-game answer, not the simplified real-world developer answer. So let's dig a bit deeper into this. Majora's Mask is said to be an accursed item from an ancient tribe, and was used in hexing rituals. We can assume, like the other masks, that Majora was once a being similar to Ganondorf. Just like Ganondorf or Demise in Hyrule, after Majora was defeated, he will be reincarnated over and over again. So, to stop the cycle of reincarnation, while still alive, Majora and his power was sealed into the mask by an ancient tribe. Similar to how Ganondorf, while also still alive, was sealed into the spirit realm by the sages. If they're not dead, they can't be revived or reincarnated. They must remain imprisoned or sealed for all of eternity, or until the seal is weakened. Perhaps the people of Termina, Hyrule, or wherever the mask originated from, knew the beast Majora could come back if killed, so instead of killing the beast, they sealed him to protect the world from its evil. We can see this by looking at the events that came following Ocarina of Time. After Ganon was sealed leading into the Child timeline, Hyrule had an era of peace. Demise wasn't reincarnated, no evil being tried taking over Hyrule that we know of. No reincarnation was able to come because the current incarnation was still alive and imprisoned in the Twilight Realm. It wasn't until Ganondorf was able to manipulate Zant that he was able to break free from the seal and bring corruption back to Hyrule. In the adult timeline, we have the same thing. Ganondorf was sealed, and an era of peace began, until Ganondorf was able to break free from his prison, which led to the Great Flood. Hyrule isn't the only land that used seals to bring peace to the world, though. The ancient tribe who used Majora's Mask in its hexing rituals is said to have sealed the mask in shadow, fearing that misuse would lead to catastrophe, similar to the royal family hiding the Triforce in the Sacred Realm for fear of its misuse. Both Demise and Ganondorf have broken free from their imprisonment. Could the ancient tribe had predicted that Majora would also break free from his seal inside the mask? While Demise was sealed, his manifestation created a monstrous being, known as the Imprisoned. Maybe the different forms we see of Majora during the final boss battle isn't necessarily Majora, but different manifestations of his true form. Now, back to Fierce Deity. Just as with the other 3 transformation masks and Majora, it's likely that Link's Termina counterpart was also sealed within a mask. But why would the tribe seal their hero into a mask? I'll give you a few reasons on this. It's possible that Termina's hero wasn't actually as kind-hearted as Link from Hyrule. If we look at Link's other counterpart from Lowrule, we can see that Ravio is the opposite of Link. Not evil, but just as Link is viewed as brave and courageous, Ravio lives in constant fear, and could easily be seen as a coward. Similarly, Link's Termina counterpart could have been sort of an anti-hero. He may have been just as brave and courageous as Link, but instead of being a kind-hearted hero, he could have had the potential to turn evil, demanding respect or a high-ranking position as a king or general of the army, for putting an end to the creature or being known as Majora. Think of it like other stories where the hero is slowly corrupted by his quest for power or his ego, and over time becomes an anti-hero or evolves into the actual villain. I like to think of Termina's hero in this context. For the Dragon Ball Z fans, an easy example or comparison is to imagine Termina's hero, Fierce Deity, as Vegeta, and Hyrule's hero, Link, as Goku. Both are brave, courageous, and become more powerful to stop their enemies. Goku is even kind enough to give many of his enemies second chances before destroying them. Although Vegeta can also be seen as a hero and a good guy, he isn't as pure-hearted as Goku, but he is still considered a hero or a kind of anti-hero. He has a bad temper and a personality that demands respect, and if not shown that respect, he is perfectly fine with being feared and kills his enemies without mercy or having second thoughts. These characteristics can without a doubt be described as fierce. We can also see these opposite characteristics between Ganondorf and Majora. Ganondorf wants to rule Hyrule and be its new king. In his own way, he is fueled by the will to provide a better life for his people, who are, in his mind, exiled to the harsh environment of the desert, which he mentions in the Wind Waker. Although Ganondorf uses his powers to curse people and create monsters, he is only doing so to make the people of Hyrule fear him enough to accept him as their new king. He doesn't want to destroy the land or kill any of the races. He just wants the respect that he believes he deserves. And showing his power to Hyrule is the only way they will accept him as their king. He sees it as a necessary evil for his greater good. Though it may seem like he is being pure evil, he has a clear goal and won't destroy the entire kingdom or kill all of the people, because then there would be no kingdom left to rule and no citizens left to rule. In the exact opposite role, Majora also curses people and creates monsters. However, he isn't trying to gain their respect or be king of Termina. He is actually getting enjoyment and pleasure by torturing them and watching them suffer. Then, on what is supposed to be the happiest day of the year for the people in Termina, he plans on not only killing them, but destroying all of Termina and possibly even himself, just to get revenge for being trapped in the mask. Now that we have a sense of who the Fierce Deity and Majora is, we know how their personalities work. We can assume that the Fierce Deity and Majora, just like Link and Demise or Link and Ganondorf, were in a battle. When the battle came to an end, instead of the deity giving Majora the final blow, the ancient tribe sealed Majora into a mask. Similar to how after Link delivers the final blow in Ocarina of Time, the sages and Zelda seal Ganondorf in the Sacred Realm. Now, in the Fierce Deity's mind, he is the only one who was able to stop the monster. Perhaps instead of getting the respect he thought he deserved, he could have become bitter and slowly started being corrupted. He became exactly what his title implies, a fierce deity. Being the only one who was able to stop the beast, he viewed himself as a god, or at least as powerful as a god. To kill Demise and his army, the goddess Hylia had to bring together help from the different races. Demise viewed himself as a demon or a god of evil. If Link was able to defeat Demise, he certainly shows that in a way, he was more powerful than Demise, who again viewed himself as sort of a god, and definitely stronger than the actual goddess of Hyrule. With the Fierce Deity accomplishing this similar task and destroying Majora, he likely viewed himself with the same status of the other gods, goddesses, or deities. and his attitude, abilities, and actions could easily be viewed as fierce. Just as Link is given the title of the Hero of Time, the Hero of Wind, and many others, instead of being viewed as a hero, the corrupted hero of Termina was given the title of and referred to as the Fierce Deity. The Fierce Deity would eventually be sealed by the same tribe out of fear he would bring the same destruction and chaos as Majora once did. In the second theory, or an alternative theory that paints the Fierce Deity as more of a hero, he could have been the exact opposite of what I just described. His powers and abilities could have still given him the status of being a fierce deity, but just as Zelda sealed herself in order to protect and strengthen the seal on Demise in Skyward Sword, perhaps the fierce deity volunteered himself as tribute to be sealed in order to protect the seal on Majora. While the game Majora's Mask does give hints to the Goddess of Time being Hyrule's goddess Hylia's counterpart, perhaps she is also sealed to protect the seal put on Majora's Mask, as she or no one who represents her makes a physical appearance in the game. If she is truly a counterpart of Hylia, who gave up her own goddess form to become Zelda, who in Termina would the Goddess of Time have become, if anyone? This is a theory I will work on in the near future. Now let's go back and clear up some of those misconceptions that I mentioned earlier, starting with the manga being looked at as a canon story. Nintendo has stated that they are not canon, and many of the manga and comics even contradict the actual story from the games. In certain cases, like that of A Link to the Past, which has at least 3 separate official tie-in comics, each of them in their own way retell the story of A Link to the Past differently than the actual game, and even contradict each other as well. So while the stories in the manga might be more interesting for some, or give details on certain characters and events that the games don't, that doesn't make it canon. By now I'm sure everyone already knows the story in the Majora's Mask manga. In it, Link receives the Fierce Deity mask from Majora and becomes Fierce Deity Link. During his fight against him, in a flashback of Majora, it is revealed that while as a dragon, a mysterious man bearing a strong resemblance to the Fierce Deity in both appearance and clothing had visited Majora. The man played music for the dragon, who danced for 3 days and 3 nights before dying. The man then carved the Majora's Mask from the creature's hide, hoping to seal its power. It is hinted in the story that the stranger is in fact a god, the first being that is able to overcome the beast of Majora, and that it does so with music that controls the flow of time. Again, this is interesting, and certainly gives more information than the game does. But the manga also says Link faints in the poisonous water and is rescued by monkeys that bathe him in a spring. The point is, you can't go by the manga. You have to rely on information given during interviews or what is found in the actual games. So, with Fierce Deity, could his spirit being trapped in the mask explain Link's counterpart's absence? The similar physical appearances, the similar weapons, and both being able to shoot beams from their swords? Is the double helix sword Termina's master sword? Instead of the hero and Majora being reincarnated over and over again, could the ancient tribe have sealed both of them in masks for the greater good, even if it means being left without a hero? Let me know your thoughts and answers in the comments below. Then, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future Zelda theories. What's up everybody, Game Over Jesse here, and if you enjoyed this video and are into awesome nerdy geeky content like we are, consider subscribing to Geek Fuel, a monthly subscription box that is guaranteed to have over $50 worth of great stuff in every box. You'll receive an exclusive shirt, games, collectibles, and other geek-related greatness. Use the link geekfuel.com/GameOverJesse to not only get $3 off of your subscription, but to help out our channel as well, which means more time to work on more videos for you guys. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and welcome to the End Slate. If you're a fan of these videos, please subscribe and comment below to let me know your thoughts. If you would like to support this channel, please consider supporting on Patreon, where you can watch videos like this early, and help me create longer videos like the top 10 best and worst of Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, and the top 5 official Zelda games that have either been cancelled or just went unreleased. Finally, a huge thank you to this month's supporters: George Says Hi, Link Uses the Triforce, Transcendent Sacred Courage, Glenn Cassio, Prey Warrior, Victopedia, Rusty Caulfield, Robert W., Amanda Pina, Lunarium, Chris Gasparin, Harris Priest, Lovable Christie, Key of Time 15, Jerome Major, Daryl Quinnen, Furzin 16, Kadron, Magic Tech Review, and The Itch Network.